Right now on Can I Media, I'd like to introduce you to Jim Mandala. You're with Globalstar.
That's correct.
And you're here talking today about safety and productivity for workers in remote areas.
We are, yes. So Globalstar provides coverage for workers in remote areas outside of where there's cellular range. We have a variety of products that help them stay safe and connected.
Okay, so tell us how that works then, because usually when people think safety, they're not thinking telephones, or I guess satellite phones, but it can play a huge part.
It does play a huge part. So a worker out in the field who wants to communicate back to head office and they're outside of cell range, they really don't have a lot of other options. A Globalstar phone like this acts much like a cell phone, except instead of connecting to a cellular tower, it connects to one of our satellites traveling over in the sky. Mm-hmm. Works exactly the same way.
And then that would, of course, go back to head office, and you'd be able to communicate that way.
Sure.
I guess when you're talking about remote locations, what sort of locations are you thinking about? And obviously places where cell capabilities are just impossible.
Sure. Actually, the vast majority of the northern part of our country isn't covered by cellular, so you don't have to go that far off a major route to have no cell coverage. So really anything maybe a couple kilometers off any major interstate going north or south needs to be covered by something other than cell, and that's what we provide.
Okay, and you've got something else in your hand there as well. What is the Spot?
This is called Spot, and Spot's a one-way communication device. It sells for under $200, and basically, if you ever get in any trouble, you have a couple different options. You can push a check-in button, which will send a message to someone you choose it goes to on your personal web page saying that you're okay or you've arrived, and then it's got a safety button. So if you ever get into some serious trouble, you can push that. It'll go up to the satellite network. We've got a 24/7 call center. It'll locate you where you are with the GPS coordinates from the device, and then they'll deploy emergency services from there. Okay. So you'll always be safe.
Do you have any real-life examples of how these tools have been used so far?
We've sold over 60,000 Spots in Canada alone, and we've had over 2,000 life-saving events in the country. Anywhere across the country where people are spending time outside of where there's cell coverage and get into an accident situation, they're using the Spot device. Some of our biggest verticals are in the snowmobile area, small planes, anybody doing hiking, biking, anybody off the grid, they're using these devices.
Okay. Now, one thing that came up during your presentation or afterwards during the question period was the cost, because when people think satellite phones, they're not thinking, hey, I've got that money in my pocket right now.
Sure. Well, I think traditionally satellite phones were quite expensive, but Globalstar is really bridging the gap between what's happening on the cell side and into the satellite world. The GSP 1700 sells for around $500, and then on a monthly airtime, you can get plans for as low as $25 a month and 25 cents a minute. So it really is quite affordable.
Things have changed an awful lot.
Things have changed, thank God, yes.
Thank you very much for your time, Jim.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We've been chatting with Jim Mandala of Globalstar here on Can I Media.